welcome back to the show that flies you above the water at breathtaking speeds. The GC32 Racing Tour promises an action-packed season of airborne drama around some of Europe's most majestic destinations. The GC32 catamarans have flown above the waters of Italy's Lago di Garda and Portugal's Lagos. Amongst the highly competitive 10-boat fleet, America's Cup team Alinghi Red Bull Racing have proved to be the most consistent, with one of the team's 2 boats skippered by Arno Sarafagis winning the first 2 events. Team Rockwell Racing have finished runner-up to them both times, while Blackstar sailing team in Lake Garda and in Lagos, owner-driver Eric Maris and his team Zulu have taken 3rd. In this episode, we're back in Lagos, but this time for the GC32 World Championships. These championships will be under the spotlight of the sailing world, since the GC32 foiling catamaran is the only foiling big boat class to be endorsed by World Sailing with an official World Championship. Lagos was selected to host the World Championships this year as it consistently produces ideal foiling conditions, along with its top quality facilities in Lagos Marina, Sopramar Boatyard and the City of Lagos. The cooperation between these 3 guarantee a smoothly run top-class event. The GC32 Racing Tour is known for attracting the world's top sailors and best teams from around the globe, and these World Championships are no exception. Over the next 4 days, the title contenders will have to fly their fastest on the Atlantic Ocean in front of the southern Portugal's sandy beaches to secure their spot in the history books as the 4th GC32 World Champions.
Welcome to Lagos, Portugal for the GC32 World Championships 2022. We're here with 10 teams on the starting line from 7 nations and 3 different continents. We're looking at 4 days of racing here in Lagos, Portugal, with the support of the City of Lagos, Tourism of Portugal, the Marina and the local boatyard here, Sopramar. The wind conditions look a bit tricky. We don't have the usual north wind, but we're very much looking forward and hoping that we get some good races in over the next 4 days. We're very happy here to have a strong lineup of 10 boats, probably one of the strongest and most competitive lineups we ever had in the GC32 Racing Tour and for a GC32 World Championship, with professional teams, with owner drivers that really make a very interesting and sparkling mix for the racing we're going to see over the next couple of days.
We are very glad to have you here in Lagos, in Algarve, in Portugal. As you said, it's a very important competition for us. So for ages, I would say, for centuries, Portugal is very much engaged to the sea. And so we are very proud to have the right infrastructure here in Lagos with the right partners welcoming you. As I said, we are trying to, to structure products in tourism, products that engage with you, international people, and that show our values as well. And the sea is one of our assets, so we are very much proud to have you here and to try to, host this event for a couple of years.
Ten teams from as far afield as Australia and the USA were ready for the 4th GC32 World Championship off Lagos in Portugal's Algarve. The lineup includes America's Cup winners, ocean race sailors, Olympic and World Champions, Sail GP teams and 4 owner drivers. What everyone has in common is the will to conquer what Roman Agara and Hans-Peter Steinacker did last year in their final season as a sailing duo. They were crowned GC32 World Champions after a 4-day long fight with Arno Sarafagis and his team. It was the very final race that decided the championship. Lagos is famous for providing optimum foiling via its strong offshore northwesterlies and flat waters, but this week, due to a depression of the Iberian Peninsula, the forecast was for southeasterlies bringing wind and larger waves. The conditions didn't look promising for the opening day of the 4th GC32 World Championships. The forecast was an easterly light wind, but due to the tenacity of the race committee, 5 first races were completed, 3 of them in ultralight conditions. In contrast, the last 2 races saw the 10 boats doing reaching starts with the wind gusting up to 20 knots. The heroes on the opening day were on board K-Challenge Team France. They had only been part of the tour for 3 weeks, and having finished 7th at their debut event in Lagos, they looked like a different crew and won 3 out of the 5 races to top the leaderboard.
We had quite everything today, like light wind, choppy waves, and yeah, it was a good day to adapt our boat handling, and so it was our first objective today, and also we've got a big objective on the start. For sure at the end of the day we are really happy. It was the perfect start, as you said. 3 more days to come, and just have to keep the same mindset. I mean, I really appreciate the team.
2022 marks the 10th anniversary for the GC32 boat. It's been a decade since Laurent Lenny had the inspiration to create the GC32 flying catamaran. With the strongest lineup in the history of the class, the father of the GC32 boat wasn't going to miss the chance to be in Lagos for its 4th World Championship and see his dreams come true.
Well, it was my dream back in the days, obviously, to have the GC32. GC32 was about racing, great venues and great fun. And I think, today, like in Lagos, the World Cup is the top event of the year. And we see, a really good lineup with a lot of professional teams. When you create the first sketch on your book and you see you create this brand, G32, you see nowadays kids dreaming of, being part of this. That's a great moment. Yeah. We wanted to create something new, so the foiling was coming, and obviously foiling was being since the 80s, but not as a production boat, not affordable for people. And that was the idea back in the days. The next part, which was a lot more difficult, was to create an environment to be able to go racing, which was one I created the GC32 Racing Tour back in the days.
The GC32 Racing Tour is known for mixing up the top professional teams with owner drivers, providing balanced racing for all the teams so everyone can sail with maximum competitiveness. However, with the big variety of weather conditions so far in Lagos, it's been even more of a challenge.
Our goal is, I suppose, around mid-fleet. I mean, it's a challenging fleet here, with very high standards, so our goal is just to do as well as possible, and if we can get somewhere around the middle of the fleet, we're quite happy. Occasionally get a better result, we'd love to have a few wins, but we understand the competition is very good. We're just looking for consistency with our team and some improving results. So.
The favourites were most definitely Alinghi Red Bull Racing. The Swiss America's Cup winners and current challengers won the opening events of this year's GC32 Racing Tour. However, the team's regular skipper Arnaud Saraphagas, who won the GC32 World Championship here in 2019, is tied up with America's Cup commitments, so has passed the helm to 24-year-old Maxime Bachelin.
We are well prepared for it with the whole crew of Alinghi. We always want to push, to win races, and the goal is always to do the best. Yesterday it was tricky wind. The wind was shifting quite a lot. It was a lot of change of sails, change of statings, but I think we were managing it quite well, and we are looking forward for the next racing day, so keep pushing on it.
Racing on the second day in front of the Atlantic beaches of Lagos started early. 5 races were held in what was a reverse of the opening day, beginning with reaching starts and changing to upwind starts for the final 2 races. The wind off the Algarve coastline was generally light and never exceeded 15 knots, with it later on dropping to below 8 knots. Then it became vital to find the best foiling or semi-foiling mode downwind. K Challenge was again the top scoring boat and held a 10-point lead overall ahead of Christian Zuerrer's Blackstar sailing team. They narrowly missed out on a podium finish last year, so are on a mission this year, and after 10 races sailed, they looked in a very good position.
We tried to sail simple, reduce tacks and jibes, looking for pressure, and apart from the OCS we had execute the coach's order pretty well.
Welcome back to the show that takes you around Europe to some of the most beautiful places. All carefully selected for these flying machines to reach up to 40 knots in full speed mode. We've been under the stunning alpine scenery of Lake Garda in Italy and are now by the Atlantic's sandy beaches for a second time this year. After the successful Lagos Cup, the eyes of the sailing audience is once more on Algarve's Lagos, home to the 4th GC32 World Championships. The World Championship is for many the most important event of the season, as the GC32 is the only foiling big boat class to be endorsed by World Sailing with an official World Championship. The professional teams are especially keen to put on their very best performance. Bringing in the very best sailors from around the world, the Danish Team Rockwool Racing brought in Kiwi sailor Adam Minoprio as their coach. With his remarkable experience and achievements over the years and his past career in the class, he's a top addition to Team Rockwool Racing.
I'm here in Lagos and it's great to be here and have the opportunity to coach Rockwool Racing. It's fantastic to watch the GC32 racing from a different perspective, from the chase boat, and it's some still great racing out there, 10 teams, highly competitive, and looks extremely fun. I'm a bit jealous not to be racing, but it's really interesting and lots of learning going on for me and for the team. Here in Lagos, it's great to see there's a lot of new teams on the circuit and still a few of the old ones, and the new teams are being really competitive. It's very close racing for everybody, no matter how long they've been in the class.
Adam Minoprio wasn't the only one returning to the tour for these championships. Owner-driver Jason Carroll with Team Argo, all the way from the US, were back for this event. A veteran team with their phenomenal presence over the years in the GC32 class seek every season excellence and competitive sailing that allow them to race head-to-head with the top professional teams on the circuit. Jason, with his long-lasting experience in sailing campaigns, knows very well how to compose a top-performing team. Olympic champion and America's Cup challenger Paul Goodison once again joined forces with Argo, making the fleet even more competitive.
Oh, it's great to be back here in Lagos for the GC32 World Championships. It was a year ago since I sailed with Argo at the last year's Worlds, and it's nice to come back. And the World Championship's going okay so far. We're a new group together, but we're racing well, and the results are coming slowly. But we're in there. We're fighting it out in the middle of the pack, and hoping to do a bit better for the remainder of the regatta.
The GC32 Flying Catamaran has been offering highly competitive sailing to top professional sailors as well as passionate owner-drivers for a decade now, but it still keeps attracting new teams and talented sailors. They contest themselves against the best with Olympians, America's Cup challengers, Sail GP teams who appreciate the unique and quality sailing the GC32 boats provide. Therefore, the GC32 Racing Tour is one of the most prestigious sailing tours in the world.
The GC32 is an amazing boat. There's no push buttons on these boats, everything's rope controlled and human controlled, and there's a lot of effort and a lot of teamwork go in to be able to sail these boats smoothly, and I think that's one of the things that make these boats truly unique.
What I enjoy a lot about the GC32 is just the crew work, how rewarding it is. You have to be at one with the rest of the team. Unfortunately, we didn't get as many days practice as we wanted to coming into this event, but we're getting better every day, and it rewards good crew work, which is the difference, I guess, between the very top teams and the guys just behind.
It's definitely a new way of sailing, keeping learning every day. The different way of sail a foil boat, like the different VMG, are pretty different from a dinghy boat, and the speed is quite different. It's twice the speed of a dinghy boat.
The fact that there's 10, 11 boats racing means it's super good racing, so any sort of foiling boats with those sort of numbers, it's always going to be fun. I think that's what draws a lot of new teams, a lot of owner drivers. It's close racing and great fun.
The words from Adam Minoprio, Paul Goodison and Kevin Pepinay were enough to convince new ambitious teams like HRM Racing Team to attend their first ever World Championship. They were hoping to learn from some of the more experienced teams, and their improvement so far this season proves it.
We're happy to be here. We're happy to sail with the best foiling sailors in the world. We're happy to meet America's Cup Sail GP sailors here. GC32 is a very good platform to meet and share the experience with professional sailors and owner drivers like me. We carry on with our strategy. Our strategy is to close the competence gap between the leading pack and us. And yeah, we're happy with our steps.
Another uncharacteristically light day saw the easterly winds peak at just over 10 knots for the first race, allowing one reaching start to take place before the course was reconfigured for upwind starts, with 2 more races held. On the last leg of the day's third race, the wind dropped to just 3 knots, and while the race was completed, there was no more racing held. Given the vagueness of the conditions, it was impressive that the top 2 boats still maintained their consistency. K-Challenge Team France remained the overall leaders going into the final day, but Christian Zuerrer's Blackstar sailing team were the leading scorers on the third day in Lagos, posting an impressive 1-3-1 and reducing the French team's lead from 10 points to 6. Alinghi Red Bull Racing had a better day, posting a 3-3-5 to hold third overall, 14 points ahead of Zulu.
It was quite hard because we were doing 3 bad starts, but in every race we were catching up. We were very happy with our speed on upwind, quite happy with the day, with how the team worked. The race committee was doing a very great job because the wind was light and tricky. We are very happy about how they did the work. Sure, it's the world. Everyone wants to win this regatta. We will work to gain some points. Every point will count. So we will push until the last race, for sure.
The first ever GC32 World Champions were back at these World Championships. Sebastian Schneider and Team Tilt came to give their all with a new lineup, but with the level of competition being sky high this year, the relatively fresh team were facing a tough challenge.
Difficult conditions for the nerves, very light winds and tricky conditions. Yeah, for us it's not been going so well in terms of results, but we learned a lot of things, and what's important is, you know, for our next event or next time we sail together is to remember what we learned, and for that, you know, we have different processes in place, but I think for us the goal is to keep improving, and so far we're doing it, but it's a long process.
So it all came down to the fourth day. K-Challenge Team France were the dominant force during the first half of this GC32 World Championship, but for the second half it was Christian Zuerrer's Blackstar sailing team who overtook the French after the third of 4 races sailed on the last day. With outstanding consistency, the Swiss podiumed in every one of the last 10 races, and they were crowned the Flying Catamaran class's 4th World Champions, following Team Tilt, Alinghi and Red Bull Sailing Team. K-Challenge Team France stood in second, followed by Alinghi Red Bull Racing in third.
Absolutely happy to win the 22 World Championship of the GC32 class. It was great to fight against K-Challenge. It was not an easy day. We were in the morning 6 points behind K-Challenge. We get out on the water with the same goal like yesterday, to race our own race, sail our boat in the most possible pressure and fast as possible, and not looking around the other teams, just doing our own thing. I think we managed today the best what we can do.
We've always had plenty of positive signs. You know, we've always been able to win races, and we've always been fast in different areas. It's just been about trying to put the whole package together, and I kept trying to, I guess, put confidence in the team. We had a couple of little mistakes on the first 2 days, but the last 2 days we sailed almost perfectly.
K-Challenge Team France, in just their second ever GC32 appearance, had an outstanding event and almost took victory. But this is racing at the very top, so they were delighted with their result, while Alinghi Red Bull Racing kept their record as a top performing team with another podium finish.
I'm super happy, super proud of the group. We did this event to grow as a group and link each other, so I'm super happy with this. For sure, we were close to be world champion and we just missed it on the last 3 races, and it's quite painful, but it's also racing, and that's what we love, play for those titles.
The win was very challenging this week. Small mistake was directly a big loss. So to finish third, we are very happy about this performance, and for sure we will work on our mistake during this week to be better next time.
In the owner-drivers division, Eric Maris's Zulu was the fastest boat after a tough week of close racing in the 10-boat fleet.
We were looking ahead of us to the professional teams to be at the overall result, but winning the owner driver is always a good thing. We're happy with that. Again, we'll try and do better next year on the overall ranking.
After a very demanding week, but one with some outstanding performances in Lagos, the 4th world title of the GC32 class came to a successful end. Blackstar Sailing Team and K-Challenge Team France delivered a masterclass in sailing, making these World Championships one to remember. The World Championships in Lagos also marked the conclusion of another exciting GC32 season. Eventually, it was Alinghi Red Bull Racing SUI 8 that secured the overall tour's title. The Swiss showed consistency in all of the 3 stops and finished ahead of Blackstar Sailing Team and Team Rockwell Racing in the final standings. It was another high-flying season for the GC32 Racing Tour and its foiling catamarans. The action was capped off in one of the tour's favourite venues, and crowning the world champions there was a blast. We'll see you in 2023.